Hello, everybody. My name is Dr. Michael Lopiano. Some of you may know me better, perhaps, by my username on Reddit, user MojoMaster5. I have been writing exclusively about the company GameStop and its daily price action, and publishing detailed analytics, particularly of the options market and of technical analysis, options data on GameStop stock exclusively. I've been doing this for the better part of 6 months as I've tried to take an active role in my investment in the company, which has been ongoing for about the past 3 years, so I guess going on 4 now. I decided to go ahead and start this this recording and incorporate this into my channel. In some part because I think that my interest in GameStop actually intersects quite well with some of my other interests, in particular. But I wanted to do this in particular because my Reddit account and all of my content has been suspended indefinitely. This happened spontaneously today after my daily post. I've had some issues in the past with my posts being taken down. I've been in contact with the mods multiple times about this. It's every time I've spoken to them, it's always strangely something to do with Reddit. It's like an anonymous complaint, something like that. The post gets taken down. I had a post on Monday removed, but today my account was completely suspended and all my content removed, all access to it removed. Indefinitely. I was told it was a password error or something like that, but I have no information on it. I've taken to YouTube to start talking about this. So what I would like to do in this video is I know there's a lot of excitement out there about Roaring Kitty coming back again today, posting a tweet. I'd like to take some of you guys. I'd like to take you in depth through my post today, talk about some of the things I some of the things I posted about today, some of the things I was thinking about this week, what the implications of those were, why I think today in particular was a day that I may have been targeted, and also at the same time what sort of my early reactions to Roaring Kitty's return with his tweet today might be. So so let's take a look. So as you can see here, right? My post is my account is suspended. I don't have any idea from Reddit why this was the case, and certainly, right, if we go down, if we look at my content, all of my pinned content is gone. We do have some like the husks kind of my Superstonk content, but otherwise everything's been removed. So just to let you guys know, if you don't know yet, right, I do have my content. I do post my articles. I will continue to post my articles on X, as I've been doing for the past month. So I'll go over to X, and since that's where I have access to my material, and walk you through some of that. Okay, so let's get over to my post here over on X. Right, if you're trying to find where I'm going to do my daily analytics. You can find them here in the articles tab. I usually pin the top post to my channel every day, so I try to get those out before market open, so you know what's going on, so you know what I'm thinking about, what I'm looking at. So let's get right into this today. So so what was I talking about today, and why perhaps was this something that was caused to try to remove my post, or remove my entire account today. So recently, right, I've been writing about I've been noticing a lot of very heavy short activity in GameStop, somewhat independent of the organic flow of the options market. And so I noticed today that we had two scenarios sort of emerging heading into earnings, and that the past couple trading days, right, we were in this particular situation here of basically a more bearish scenario and a more bullish scenario coming out. So, for example, here I drew these as regression channels on the chart, and so what I was looking at is you have bears and bulls, right? So you have people who are trying to maintain a navigable structure in the charts. Okay, so how does this work? Why, like, what really is TA? Like, what is technical analysis? Why does this matter? Is this really like, astrology for guys or something like that? And in part, the answer is yes, right? So in part, when you're trying to predict movements, if you're trying to anticipate where are likely movements in price going to occur, you have to understand, right, that human beings are using navigational psychology, right? That our brains are structured to find our way through three-dimensional space, right? We try to navigate. And when we try to make decisions, we make decisions based on navigational landmarks. We look for symbols, we look for signs. We are primarily creatures of limited knowledge, right? Every single human being has limited knowledge. Nothing that we know is certain. And so every decision that we make is effectively a bet, right? Every decision that you make in the world is a bet. You're always making a bet. You never know that your actions for certain will lead you to some particular end, because no human being has perfect knowledge. We tend to treat knowledge as if it is certain, but certainly if you're trading in the market, if you're trying to figure out how to make a trade, if you're trying to figure out where price is going to go, right, you have to be aware of that dynamic to your knowledge all the time, right? All of your knowledge is probabilistic. So that being said, traders in the market are always looking for shapes. They're always looking for patterns. They're always looking for these navigational waypoints to judge and to make decisions about when to enter and exit trades, when they think reversals are coming, how to structure their trades. So as you can see here, right, we just have a basic study set up here on the chart in this green channel here, right? This has been the pattern of trading that we've been looking at over the past month, right? Basically since Roaring Kitty's 13F filing on October 29th, basically the day before, in anticipation of that, the National Cat Day catalyst, we emerged into this upwardly sloped bull trend, which is formed, right? You can see just how perfectly this fits within this regression channel, right? So anytime we're about to pop out of this, we get things like RSI signals that are telling us we're overbought, excuse me. Right, we have a number of our moving averages converging on key parts of this regression channel when we've seen reversals in the price within this channel, right? So for example, purple line here, you're looking at a 24, it's a 4-hour chart, by the way, there's a 24-hour moving average. We were also bound in particular by the 54-hour moving average through this channel. But all of a sudden, day after Thanksgiving, right, we very quickly and very abruptly started moving back toward the middle of this channel. This made sense more or less, and we had a couple of support levels there that would suggest that we would just continue to keep trading up, that we would stay within this upper channel. On Friday, right, we held support in the very middle of this regression channel and into the after hours period. As we moved down the next day, we looked to test support, which had held up for a month. We had tested this several times at the 54-hour moving average. However, instead, I wrote about this on Monday, a post that was taken down that I had to back up to my user profile on Reddit, and which, right, heavy shorting. We had 1.4 million shares of listed at some point on international brokers being unavailable, presumably sold short on the open market, right? We could see this being targeted at key resistance levels within our options landscape. And what we saw was a move down toward the bottom of this channel, which held, right? This support here held the bottom of our upward trending channel, aligned with our 104-hour moving average. And you can see this, right? You can see this price action sort of going on here in the right. And what we get is we get this clash of two paradigms that basically for if we're able for a longer period of time to stay above this 104-hour moving average, aligning with the bottom of this upward bull channel, then what this says to the market is it says, hey, we're still in a bull trend, right? We're still in this framework. This is the paradigm we're working in. And if that's what that means, right, it means that sends a signal to the market. It says, hey, we're not going out of this channel. We're not going lower than this channel. This means that now is actually maybe a pretty good time, or soon is a pretty good time to enter into some more bullish trades if we have security within this channel. However, we had this, as you can see that I've outlined in red here, this regression channel I built in red, is the sort of sub-channel that is developed off of these particular 2 days of heavy shorting from many like over 1 million shares being loaned out per the data on international brokers. So really, what happened yesterday, and what I saw take place, and what I published pre-market, was this particular issue that I saw, right? So we didn't see that much shorting yesterday, but we did see it come in at a key moment, right? So as we moved into the early part of the day, right, bulls had something of an upper hand, something of an advantage, moved us up comfortably above the 104-hour moving average, which was exactly aligned with the lower support threshold of our upward trending bull channel. Right, there was an effort early to sort of punch through this, but it was unsuccessful, and so trading was largely pinned in the upper portion of the 27 range, between about 2750 and 2780, which fit within the upper channel within 2 standard deviations of our volume weighted average price. Actually, most of it was within about 1 standard deviation of our volume weighted average price. But then all of a sudden, around 1:10 p.m. Eastern time, all of a sudden the price just started careening down into the lower VWAP channel. So the VWAP line and about 2 standard deviations below that. You can see this sort of volume uptick in the middle of the chart here. And around the same time, as I pointed out, right, we had 100,000 shares, which matches up with this volume that we saw show up on the chart almost exactly. Right, we saw 100,000 shares dip between disappear, meaning they were loaned out by international brokers for a period of about a half hour, right? So 7:30, those 100,000 shares are there. Excuse me, 7:30. 1:30, those 100,000 shares are there. By 1:45, they're gone, and at 2 p.m. they're back again, right? So what's happening there, right? Those shares are not removed from the available shares to borrow immediately, right? They're removed when the trade is settled. So they don't necessarily get taken off the board when somebody says, hey, I'd like to borrow those. They get taken off the board when the trade needs to get settled. So you do see some of this going on overnight. But right, it's whoever did this, right, opened this trade and closed this trade very quickly, right at the time that the price careened off this ledge pretty quickly. So why does that matter, right? Why is that? Okay, so somebody shorted 100,000 shares, like people short stuff all the time. Yes, but it happened at this crucial point because it drove the price back underneath, as we can see, right? It drove the price. Maybe I can show you on, show you this here. No, we'll look here. It drove the price back underneath our channel here, as we can see, right? And it started to trade outside of this bull channel and show predominance, show that our bear channel, this sub bear channel, was predominant, was asserted a sort of higher validity as a navigational architecture in the market over this long bull trend that we've been seeing for a month, right? At least that's the way it's supposed to look. However, interestingly, right, toward the end of the day, right, an hour later, just an hour later, we had a huge, actually it was our single highest volume minute of the day, right here around 3 o'clock. As you can see, right toward the end of the day, we have this huge, large volume candle, but absolutely nothing happens to the price. So what happened here, right? this is an order that's even larger than this cluster of short volume here. It's about 1.5 times as large. And sure enough, we go, we look, we see, we check Unusual Whales. Shout out to Unusual Whales. Thank you for your service, guys. Right, we've got 144,000 shares being routed to a dark pool. Okay, so why does that matter in a dark pool? In a dark pool, right, a single seller is being matched up with a single buyer so that the shares do not actually affect the price on the open market. Okay, so there's not the shares, like the order is not being broken up. It's not being sent out to different it's not being sort of shopped out to a bunch of different buyers. It doesn't affect the price. Okay, so what's interesting here is that a large short sale of 100,000 shares was allowed yesterday to hit the open market, but an ask order of 144,000 shares was not allowed to hit the open market. So something's not right there, right? Something's going on. And it just so happened that the inability for those two orders to sort of cancel each other out, right? So the 144,000 as a response to that short sale an hour later at an attractive price did not send demand into the market, right? That demand, that authentic organic sentiment to buy the stock did not enter into the lit market. Okay, so what happened, right? So because of this, right, we slipped under this moving average. We slipped out of our paradigm. And the principal scenario that we saw unfold today was this battle early on to get the stock either back into this bull trend or for bears, if they're bears, to assert again the further strength and validity of this bear trend into earnings, right? Okay, well, let's think about this. Why would you want to short the stock, right, into earnings so heavily? What's going on? Well, we know over the past few quarters that Ryan Cohen, CEO of GameStop, has been doing these share offerings, right? Has been raising capital for the company at times of high volume. Now, going into earnings, typically times of high volume. Interestingly, right, our average volume was about 2 times what we saw for basically all of September and October in November, right? So in November, we had 2 times our average volume of the previous 2 months, most of August too, with the exception of a few days scattered around the Q2 earnings report. We've seen over the past couple of days, we've seen volume fall from that extended, right? We're looking at 13, 15, 18 million shares a day. To the past 3 days, we're looking at barely 6 million shares per day. So volume is down. Price has been falling off a ledge, like down 20, 25%. What's going on here? Okay, so every time, interestingly, that Ryan Cohen has raised money for the company, it has coincided with a higher floor on our trading, right? Even though it may, in the short term, result in heavy shorting or selling on the part of the market at large, it's every time this has occurred, the price has not gone back to previous lows prior to that share offering. Putting these ideas out here, right? Something is obviously going on, which is trying to artificially move the price down so that it is lower at earnings, such that should Ryan Cohen decide to offer to go to another share offering, it would happen at a lower price and result in less money raised for the company. Now, if that were indeed occurring, right, allegedly, if something like that were indeed occurring, if that were indeed something organized by market makers, if that were something indeed organized by institutions who still do not want to see GameStop succeed, that would be an example of financial players directly interfering with the value, with the actual business of the stock, right? Actually interfering with the amount of capital that the company might have to use. So, at this point, this is speculation, right? I point these things out. I see what I see. I'm not necessarily, this is right. It's untraceable for me to say who this might be. Right, this is speculation, but this is what I talked about today in my post. I outlined some of the options dynamics that basically pointed to something of a continued downtrend. Right, I talked about weakness in our options chain going into the next 2 weeks that suggested we were probably going to be seeing something like a slide down to around $25, $24, especially if you look at the accumulation of market maker put gamma exposure. So the gamma values of open, let's see, open interest, right? So total amount of gamma values of open contracts at these lower strikes are predominantly in favor of puts, which means we have downside volatility below $27. For market makers, for this means, right, that they are more exposed in terms of their dealing strategies to puts, and it means that when they hedge for the gamma values of puts, which is their one of their predominant means of making sure that their portfolios are not overexposed to risk in the options market, that the price tends to move more slippery through these high put gamma areas. So we definitely saw this building up beneath us. We saw these, pointed out these episodes of shorting to move the price down. We know earnings is coming up. Look, all these things are fitting together. And I said, look, okay, my post basically talks about my analytics today that this is a scenario that was developing if indeed the price was going to get pushed down. And bulls could not reclaim our territory up above, say, about 27.25. If the price couldn't sustain itself at 27.50 or higher, then basically we are going to get trapped in this type of regime, and we are going to walk our way down basically toward about $25, where we have some sizable support from market maker gamma hedging, and we have some technical support there as well from the 200 4-hour moving average, which is down around 24.50. Our 50-day moving average is also down around there. So this is what I wrote up today, and as we saw right in the stock, right. Let me share our live charts for today. Okay, so if we're looking at our charts today, right, basically, right, this is what we saw. Let's extend this actually to the right here, right. So as we take a look, right, we can see just how close our channels came to each other today. I was watching this super closely, right. So in the pre-market, right, we got some trading up from bulls, pushing the price higher, Could have also been something on the part of bears to affect some kind of feint here, right? Almost exiting from our bear trend here, out of our bearish regression channel, before putting up a head and shoulder pattern and then rejecting this to our downside. Right, and as we can see after this, we just see a ton of selling, maybe a bit of shorting coming in here too. I'll talk more about this tomorrow as in tomorrow's write-up, tomorrow's analysis. And we make our way all the way down to $26 here, right? Just shortly before, right, we look like we're going to continue to trade sideways, and then all of a sudden we get this tweet. We get this tweet from Roaring Kitty, from Keith Patrick Gill comes in, some kind of tweet. Don't know what it means, right? Does it ever necessarily mean anything? The point is, this is not necessarily hyped Reddit traders coming in here and doing this. This is an instantaneous algorithmic reaction to buy up shares and to buy up options contracts, buy up calls in anticipation of what this guy's doing. Right, we get a huge IV pump up about 40 percentage points. The price skyrockets to $31, and now we're in this position where all of those funds, say, who from last Friday or from Monday, who are shorting the stock, anybody who was orchestrating, building out these put positions beneath us, trying to walk the price down ahead of earnings to keep volume, to keep the options market volume down while we had this uncertainty to potentially prevent the company from necessarily being able to raise more money versus through a share offering, right? Instead, we get these people trapped in here, right? Their puts are certainly now way out of the money. If they've got short calls, a number of their short calls are going to be underwater, and their short positions, if they have short shares, that those as well are. Yeah, those are not looking too awesome here. Certainly, if anybody in here was shorting down at say $27 or $26.50, if anybody was, people yesterday, if that trade was settled, if it wasn't, if there was shorting yesterday, if there were shorts on Monday that weren't closed, in the 27 range, something like that. Yeah, these people might be interested in closing their positions and readjusting. So we might actually be seeing some of that now in the after hours, where we look like we're almost back up to about $30, interestingly. And if we zoom out a bit, right, we are definitely within. We're moving back. We're squarely back into the middle of our bull trend. So Roaring Kitty coming in, hero saving the day. Maybe significantly changing our fate, significantly altering potentially how much money the company is going to be able to raise in earnings on Tuesday. So, yeah, I guess that's it for me for right now. I threw this video together, pretty impromptu, pretty ad hoc. I'm going to keep doing these. I'm going to do breakdowns regularly of my analytics now. I will appeal whatever's going on with my Reddit account. I have no idea why this has been taken down. Obviously, I have my suspicions. Probably sound a little crazy right now with my decision to throw this together. But I just wanted to say to everybody out there, thank you so much for your support. Thank you so much for all your support on X. Thank you for all your support for all of these months in Reddit. To everybody in the Superstonk community. I really wouldn't know anything about trading if it wasn't for the community and what's been going on as well. With GameStop, right? I wouldn't know. Yeah, I don't even know if I'd be as interested in doing any of this. So really, thanks goes out to Keith Gill, to Ryan Cohen for what you guys have done, and let's go GameStop. Thanks a lot. We'll see you tomorrow. You can expect at the very least on Twitter, you'll have a post from me. Check the article section. I'll pin it to the front page, and we'll see if we can't make these YouTube videos a regular thing as well. Let me know what you think in the comments. Feedback's always welcome. If you have questions, let me know too. Thanks so much. We'll see you tomorrow. Let's go GameStop.